Okay. Now we're going to record. Okay, so part of our whole thing tonight is really about how we approach the business, okay? And it's really important about, I suppose, just how we execute, how we approach this business, because it does have an effect on obviously outcomes and hitting bonuses and all the goals that we sort of want to achieve within the business as well. So if we take this strategic approach towards the business, then it's just going to pay us back tenfold if we do things a little bit right and tactfully. So part of it is being coachable. So when we come into the business, we really want to be coachable, and I suppose just don't have those preconceived ideas about, what you're going to do in the plan. I mean, it's good to have those, but I think for the first part, it's just good to just sit back and listen and be coached first. Just because we've had the time. I mean, a lot of us have played around with a few things. I started off being that spammy, private messenger guy. I've done other things that I thought were, because I just didn't have anyone to sort of a soundboard to work off. Now, it wasn't until I actually met up with Andy and I started using Costo a little bit more towards the back end of my time in that first 30 days. But in the first sort of 20 days, I was just trying to search my way through this whole thing, and it was a really painful process. I was kind of stressing out, to tell you the truth, but at the same time, I still wanted to give it a good go. So what Andy's going to touch on is about being coachable and I suppose the strategy or the way we sort of want the new promoters to be sort of set up when they first come in for that first 30 days. So, yep.
Okay, so I'll start with a little story, I suppose, in terms of coaching outside of this whole business and all that sort of stuff. And the story I'm going to tell you is just based around an experience I had working with a guy named Brian McDermott. He's now the Leeds Rhinos head coach. He was a former rugby league professional himself. He used to play for Great Britain. Before that, he was a Royal Marine Commando and a boxing champion at that within the Royal Marines. So tough mudder. And he ran his ship like in the military, pretty much. He was the head coach, and everyone underneath pretty much did what he said. But we didn't have a problem with that, because that's how it was structured in a professional sports environment. You have your head coach, and then you have the people underneath. So everyone was absolutely fine with obviously listening to Brian McDermott. He was that person. It was his head on the line at the end of the day. It was his responsibility of the whole team, and whether we won or lose, it would reflect on him. But the best environment that we ever had during that period of time, and this is high-performing environment, is when everyone felt comfortable to be able to communicate with each other completely openly and honestly. Now, that meant that you had to actually say some things that would potentially hurt people's feelings. It meant that you had to say the hard things that, in essence, you're kind of giving someone feedback that they might not have done the best job that they could have done. So, for example, if the strength and conditioning coach, the head strength and conditioning coach, if the boys were overcooked, we had to discuss that, and we had to say, well, actually, the feedback that we had, the boys were a little bit tired going into the game. So there's a bit of blame there, and potentially that could have been avoided and all that sort of stuff. But we had to have that feedback where we're like, yeah, I agree, we probably did overcook them there. And it's just a case of communicating. Now, that head strength and conditioning coach could have reacted one of two ways. He could have got heated and got on the defensive, because people are pointing fingers at him and saying, you've overcooked them. We didn't play as well as we could have done because it's fault and all that sort of stuff. And he could have got on the defensive and said, no, and the environment could have been conflictual, and the information given to him would have then have fallen on deaf ears. Or he could react and say, yeah, I completely agree. we've got to make sure that we don't do that again next time, to make sure that we get the best out of these guys next week. So there's kind of two ways of looking at being coached and being coachable, and that is to not be defensive. If at the end of the day, if you're being coached by someone, and I still get coached now, Pele still gets coached now, you guys will be getting coached by whoever your uplines are. And the best thing about being coached is just listen. And you can still, you can have an opinion on whether it's what you want to do or not, but listen, because the information that you're getting is purely to try and help you grow as a person, as a business, and, all that sort of stuff. So I know Pele has really, really invested a lot of time and effort into trying to find different ways to grow his business. This is why he's doing so well. He's overtaking me already. I've been doing this quite a lot longer than him. So he's invested time and effort to find ways of growing his business, and he wants to pass that down onto his team. So when he tells you things, make sure you listen. I'm listening because he's actively going out to find new ways of fast tracking business, because one, he wants to do that to his own business, and two, it's important to him to make sure that whoever they sign are getting the best experience and the best out of their business too, because that's the best thing about this, is that everyone being successful means everyone being successful. So yeah, I thought I'd kind of tell you that story around the coaching side of things, and just be open to information that you hear. Like we said before, you might not completely agree with it, but realize that information is being given to you for a reason. And it's how you respond, and it's how you take that information that will ultimately make it so that you're going to be successful in this or not successful. Pretty much.
That's it.
All good.
Yeah, thanks for that, Andy. I think another thing I just want to sort of touch on there is that nothing's going to be too direct in that regard either. Like, we're not going to sort of say don't do this. We're always going to attack things in this type of collective approach, because I think we work better when it's all up and out in the open, rather than us sort of directing it at one person. I think if there is an issue that comes up, rather than addressing the one person that was involved with it, we run a call and we talk about the scenario or the issue that's sort of been that may have come up. So that's the way we sort of attack those types of things as well, so that everyone gets the same learning out of it, and then we can be some more solution focused. And I think that moves us on to our next point, is being proactive within this business. So the ones that are really proactive in this business are the ones that are gonna do really well. So what we mean by that is going out, jumping on webinars that are being run by Joe and Costo and ourselves. And, the more learning you get and the more proactive you are to go out and to find out information and all that sort of stuff, it's only going to help you grow your business. It's only going to help give you more of an understanding of how to talk to the business and all that side of things. And we've seen it. I mean, the guys that are doing really well in it, Liam, Johnny, all those guys, they've been really proactive in finding information. They're sitting on the back of webinars. They're asking the right questions. They've explored different ways to ship product over. They're looking at, thinking about how to cycle product through and all those sorts of things. So we've had a good play around with all this type of stuff, so that we can help, make the experience for people we bring into the business a whole lot better than ours as well. So that's what we want to do, is just, it's more about the quality control of what we're sort of filtering down to our downlines and stuff like that as well. And so I think being proactive within the business is really important. If you don't know something, maybe go and check your blueprint and that, or if you need a quick answer, then it's looking at the tools that we've got there to use, like the messenger. It's a good way to just troubleshoot real quickly if you need the quick answer right there and then. Otherwise, if you've got a bit of time to make that decision or whatever, then just go into your blueprint, go into your back office, have a play around with those types of things. Just go and have a play around with the yeah, the back office stuff is really good. I think the more you start exploring that and playing around with opening up different parts of that, you'll just, yeah, you'll figure things out for yourself. But we are going to start running some back office calls in probably another 2 weeks' time, just so that people get that learning as well. So I'm going to probably get Costo on for that call. He's a bit of a ninja at that, and he's a ninja with working out numbers and all the rest of it. So we will run a back office coaching business builder as well. Okay, so just that's one other thing, is being proactive within the business is really important. Make sure that you do go and have a play around with stuff. Have a look through the blueprint. Have a look at the resources that we've tagged you into. So if you've been through the Keto business page, have a look through some Costo's posts, Keegan's posts. There's some really good resources on there, and we, those resources are on there for a reason, that, to help you grow your business as fast as possible. So, and that's what we want to do with obviously this as well. So next is consistency. Do you want to just go over consistency? We can do this together, Andy, but if you want to start it off, consistency and momentum, if you want to,
Yeah, mate. Yeah. So I think if you want to be successful in anything, consistency is key, right? Whether it's weight training, whether it's good nutrition, whether it's becoming an expert on a certain occupation. As long as you have consistency in anything, it's the start of excellence, if anything. So if you can find if you've got a full-time job and you're trying to fit this in, then start trying to get a bit of a schedule or a routine where you actually make time for this. Like, I've always carried on doing a little bit of contracting work. I've cut it down to literally nothing anymore, and I'm pretty much doing this full time now. But before that, when I was, everyone's got bills and they've got mortgages and they've got families and all that sort of stuff. You have to have a bit of a security in there initially when you're not earning enough money to do this full time. And if you're going to do that, then you have to fit this business into your normal lifestyle. So I used to wake up in the morning, and the first thing I used to do in the morning is check my comm gateway. Because if you can keep that on top of that, that's, I think a lot of people, especially in New Zealand, fall apart on the shipping side of things. So that you can be really, really good at getting customers and bringing on promoters and all that sort of stuff. But if you're not on top of the comm gateway, then you're going to have, all of a sudden, in your first 4, 5, 6 weeks, you've done a really, really good job, but then you've got 10, 15 people waiting for their product. They start getting irate, and they're like, oh, this is taking too long. And then this has happened to promoters that, and they've lost customers from it because the people say, oh, this is stupid, it's taking too long. So try and fit in a bit of a routine. It doesn't have to be in the morning for your comm gateway. That could just be, getting back to a few people that you might have missed from last night or something like that. But see if you can make time. It's like homework as a school kid, either get your homework done as soon as you finish work or finish school, and then relax for the rest of the evening, or, plan your week so that you're going to be jumping on the webinar on the Tuesday and the Wednesday night, the business builder on the Friday night, and you can get some work done for lunchtime at work, or a little bit in the morning, something like that. But as long as you can stay consistent, as long as you're following up on the leads and stuff that you've got from your 5-day trials, try and convert them into your 30s, try and convert your 30s into promoters, or both into promoters, and follow what's been done by the successful people in front of you. Okay, you've got a guy sitting on this call who is doing the best in the whole country, and he's duplicating the best of the Australian country. If that doesn't tell you that their systems work, then nothing will. So if you can duplicate what Pele's doing, then you're going to be successful in this business, because it's already been done before him, and it's already been done before that person, because that person is probably duplicating what's been done in America. Yeah. Okay, and that's what's happening here, and consistency is part of it.
Awesome. Massive, bro. Starting to get a big head, bro, the way you're talking about me, but yeah. Hey, Hey, I can't agree enough about that. Like the consistency with your approach to the business is really, really important. Like it's a going out there and executing on a daily basis, whether you're behind the computer, you're putting up a post on your Instagram, your social media, doing that every day, or you do it every second day. And in between, you're going out, like Andy said, you're going out having those face to face. So you don't have to sit behind the computer. You can actually, when you leave the computer, I'm going out there connecting with people. So, for instance, I went to take my son to the dentist the other day. Went to the dentist, ended up having a conversation with the assistant about, she goes, "Oh, so what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, she goes, stay-at-home father." And I was like, "Oh, how did you guess?" No, I said, "No, actually, I own two businesses, like I've just got into, I'm selling up my gym and I'm going into a ketone business." And she goes, "Ketone business, what's that about?" And then I said, "Oh, it's a supplement that I've just got into." And then, she wanted to know more because I didn't know that she was like a national sprinter. She always medals she's a master sprinter. So I was just like, like in this heavy conversation with her about this, about this new supplement, and she was getting just as excited about it as I was, because as soon as I get into these conversations, I'm real sort of upbeat and energetic, and I think the energy that you put into it, and it's transferable. So when people see you're right into it, they're like right into it too. So I think we just need to ensure that we're always executing as well when we're going into these conversations. When we leave home, there's always an opportunity that can present itself. If you're prepared, if you've got it consciously in the back of your head, it's just going to present itself all the time. I'm always looking for an opening. So, I mean, I'll give another example. I walked into a surf shop, done it there as well. Guy goes, "Oh, how's your day been?" And that's what they always do. When you walk into any shop, they'll say, "How's your day been?" I'm like, "Yeah, not too bad. How's your day been?" And if you give them a little bit back, they'll keep on asking, "So what have you been up to?" And then I'm like, "Oh, actually, I've been real busy with my ketone business." I hadn't been, but I just made it. I just made it work for the ketone conversation. I'm always looking for a ketone conversation. So if you're actively looking for those ways of building new relationships, and you actually have to be genuine about it. Like, I think if you actually take an approach where you're interested in the other person, they're going to give you a little bit more back, and then you keep throwing it back to each other. Before you know it, you're deeply in ketosis again. It's just the way it works, man. Like, if you've got it consciously, and that's the way I work. I think it is as part of one of my strengths in terms of networking, and I like that. I like that, having that, those types of jovial conversations where people can feed off my energy. So and
Nice.
it's just being consistent with that, eh? So if you're consistent with that on a daily basis, like, people can see it through your social media as well. And I'm going to go on to the next part of it, which is execution and approach. So, with execution and what we're doing with our social media, what we're doing with these types of things, where you guys will be running calls, it's about how we execute these things, how we get better at refining our skills, so that our communication, our language, and these are things that are work-ons for me. Like, I don't claim to be the most, I don't have the biggest vocab or anything, but at least I'm trying. And the thing is, what I'm doing now is I've started investing time and money into my own personal development, doing a lot more books. I've never read books before, but and I'm still not. I'm doing audio books. So I've signed up to Audible and doing those sorts of things. And doing those sorts of things, which I've never ever done before, but I'm now more interested in trying to be the best possible network marketer that I can, or community marketer that I can and possibly be. And I've always had that mindset where if I go all in with something, I want to be the best at it, and I want our team to be the best in New Zealand. I want that excellence and that that successful culture just filtered down, so that the guys that you bring underneath you are just going to be, executing every step of the way. And I take that approach to what I put up on social media. I gave an example today to Andy that, last week I took a photo of my breakfast. And so I took a photo of my breakfast. I had like the keto cream, and I think some of you may have seen it, or some of you may have not. And I was like, how can I use this creatively? And I just thought about it for a good 5 minutes while my breakfast was getting cold. And then it came to me. I said, so my storyline was about how I reflect at breakfast time's a good time to reflect on, my goals throughout the day, the week, the year, and all that sort of thing. I actually made it all up. But, I sold it for all it's worth. And it actually made a good storyline where people would then started writing, heaps of stuff. Oh, your meals always look. And the thing is, I put a lot of time into, well, not a lot of time, actually. I just slapped stuff together. But the presentation's quite key to draw the eye. So if you've got presentation, there's a little keto sachet there. So it's all interlinked, Then I've got a story which people buy into as well, which was, made up, scripted perfectly for that picture. But it's, I think if you execute on all those types of things, the visual, you get the buy-in of the story, man, you're going to get people interested, and that hit 100 likes, so that's 100 people that have noticed that post, that potentially are following my social media, and then that's what I get. I went to the supermarket last night, again, walked out, saw one of my son's friends, stepfathers, had a conversation with him, and he was like, oh, I've been meaning to chat with you. I was like, oh, okay, what's that about? I knew it was about keto. And he goes, yeah, I've been meaning to chat with you about keto. It's I've been following you on Facebook. And I'm like, well, there you go. So people were sitting on the cusp of trying to contact you, but they're just waiting for the right time. And I've had that 3 or 4 times where people don't want to private message me, but they're waiting to see me face to face. So I think the consistency with, that execution and making sure that you present to the highest level, whether it be on a Zoom call or whether it be, scripting, what you're going to say to someone every time you get into conversation. So if you have a few hooks, when you're talking to someone, depending on what relevance it has to the person at the other end, like someone that's going to be sort of a little bit more thinner won't want the fat loss or anything, that's not going to be a hook for them, but they're going to want the energy and brain function, all that sort of stuff. So you need to practice how you're going to speak to that, and the more you speak to it and the more you get into those types of conversations, the better that spiel gets. Okay, you start, it flows, it's fluent, the energy's there, you can focus on different parts of how you talk to it, as opposed to thinking, and because that's how I was in the beginning. But I think I consciously made an effort to look at, even with these calls, I now have, when I go onto a third party validation, what is it called? I actually have a script that I follow. So the 3 things that I follow, and we're gonna do this next week. We're gonna focus on Zoom calls next week, and the power of a Zoom call, how to do a Zoom call, and the 3 things I've focused on with the Zoom call is timing of the business model, and the product. Okay. I focus on talking about those 3 things when I'm talking about it, because I don't want to talk about everything. I just want to be punchy with the call. Okay. And I've got it to a fine, I think I've got it to a fine art where I'm able to just keep it nice and punchy. We just done one with Coxie before. And that's all you need to do. The more you do those things, the more you sort of reflect, use a little bit of reflective practice where, maybe that call didn't go so well. What didn't go well in the call? So you actually have to look back on what you're doing as well to make yourself better moving forward as well. So I think as long as we're using that reflective practice, looking at, that attention to detail, and making sure that every time we go out there, execute it, it's always to the highest level at every cost. I think at every cost, wherever you're doing it. Cool. So that's that. Unless you want to add something to that, Andy.
Nah, mate, you nailed it.
Yeah. Oh, choice. Okay. So what we're going to talk about next is leverage. So Andy's going to take us through, how important leverage is and how to use leverage. Such a big part of the business. Very, very big part of the business. So Andy.
Cool. Okay. So when I first come on board in the business, I was pretty much the only person in New Zealand that had the product. So there weren't all the stories that are going around in New Zealand like there are now. But there were in Australia and there were in America. So my leverage when I first started was having a look at what happened over there. Even more so for me, coming from a professional sports background, was the leverage that the people that are backing the product had from my perspective. So Keegan Smith, he's a professional strength and conditioning coach for the Sydney Roosters, took them to a grand final 2 years in a row. He has his own Real Movement Project mentorship program and education program for like-minded PTs and strength and conditioning coaches. And I know that he's very well educated. I know that he also was already into kind of ketogenic dieting and intermittent fasting. So someone like Keegan, and later on down the line, I found out that there's some more kind of very well-known professionals that are involved in the business. But someone like Keegan has a huge reputation to lose, right? So, I've worked at a decent level of strength and conditioning myself, but I haven't got the same reputation as Keegan to lose. So I thought, well, if this guy's putting himself out there next to this product, then he must have done his due diligence. So I asked him, what due diligence has he done? And he'd done his due diligence. He'd done the blood ketone testing. He tried out all the other products as well and didn't find them as good as the KetoOS product. And just said, you should give it a try. So I did, and that's how I got involved in the business. And it was through that leverage of his own reputation that brought me on board. There's also Joe Rochester, Tim Ferriss, Dr. Dom Agostino, Charles Poliquin, for those of you that know him. All these people are actually putting themselves out there next to this product also. That's massive leverage as far as I'm concerned. So the other side of the leverage is looking at the success of the stories that are coming out of this. You've got people getting energy that they haven't had in years, that have got autoimmune diseases where they normally can't get nutrition from food. So their energy is always really, really low. All of a sudden getting spike of energy and staying up there because they're on ketones now. We're getting diabetics having their blood sugar levels drop from 21 down to 8 in 2 weeks. We're having people drop fat like you don't believe, like 8 kilos in 5 weeks. Some of which are dropping around about that number and aren't even going to the gym. They're just doing it for nutrition, which is outstanding. All this is leverages and it's success. Okay, people want to hear stories. People want to hear true stories. People want to hear success. And if they see the average Joe achieving greatness because they've taken a product like KetoOS, they're going to want it. It's as simple as that. That's huge leverage, and that's the story of the product. Now, the story of the promoter, story of the use there, again, this guy on this call right here, okay? He started in January, and he's already hit R6. He's the first person in New Zealand to do it, okay? Soon, he's already earned a lot of good money from this in a very short succession, a very short period of time, enough so that he's doing this full time now. Okay, and that's starting from January, and we're only just into April. He's done it in 3 months. So if anyone really wants to change their life, if anyone really wants to do this and work towards the next leverage, which is the guys in Australia, Brandon Costin, Keegan Smith, Joe Rochester, those 3 between them will earn close to $250,000 US a month. So if that's not leverage from a business perspective, then I don't know what it is, And they've only been doing it since I think October, September, maybe August last year. September, August last year. So if we go back to where we're talking about consistency, talking about duplication and following the succession plan, we know that we're going to be in line with those guys, or where they are, or where they were sort of 6 months into the business or 3 months into the business. Now they're 9 or 10 or 11 months into the business. If we keep doing what we're doing, we're going to be in a similar position, because all we're doing is duplicating that system and it's proven to be working. And there's leverage off of that, because showing the success and showing the pathway to success, it's all leverage. So make sure that when you're thinking about how to get customers on board or how to get promoters on board, stories are the best, and they don't have to be, if anything, that make sure they're 100% correct to every finite detail, because you'll get fired up about it, because you'll get obviously enthusiastic about achieving success. We all do.
Yeah.
So use those. If your story isn't that great at the moment in terms of your own success, find someone else's that is. I'm really lucky that I've been involved long enough to have heaps of success stories from the product, in terms of it affects lots and lots of different people in lots of different ways, from a mental cognition, from traumatic brain injury, from diabetes, from autoimmune disease, from people just loving the product because it's changed their life from a fat loss perspective and then energy perspective, so I can get pumped. I can be here like talking about this stuff. I'm absolutely buzzing because it's happened to me. If it hasn't happened to you, that all those type of stories, then find some. But it's only going to be a matter of time until it does.
Okay.
Cool.
Awesome.
A question regarding this: has anyone tried setting an experiment? Sounds interesting. Hang on. Setting an experiment as described in Blueprint.
Oh, what's that? Is that like the testing and stuff that they do?
The guy that has written the Blueprint, he is describing the blog, like he put together a blog and a Facebook post saying, right, here is this data, I want to prove it, I need people to participate, this is what you get, let's check it out together. Anybody tried that? I was just really interested in the idea.
My first post, Lisa, I just pretty much posted up before I'd even got the stock. I turned around and said, really excited to get this product. I've heard amazing things from Keegan Smith across in Australia. So really excited to jump on board with it. I've got enough stock for anyone else who's keen to try it. Let me know if you want to give it a go. And I got some bites from that. And all I'd done was put a picture, like an image from Google Images up about the product. And I got some bites from it for sure. So mine wasn't it wasn't, I'm doing an experiment. It was, I'm excited to try the product. And if anyone wants to try this with me, come find me, because I've got enough for you too. But I think either or, if, I mean, I'd probably rather, me personally, I'd rather keep it like how I did it rather than say I'm going to do an experiment. But
I'm just concerned about stocking, and if this is the case. If these people come on board, I will need to provide stock for them, product for them, and it will take time, and I'm not sure how long Come Gateway will take it. Like
you do, but when you're in that first 30 days, you get people through the system. You put them through the system and say, I've got stock on its way, and you have got stock on its way, right? Like I got to my MVP without having any stock for the whole time.
Wow.
I had to, otherwise I wouldn't have got there, because my stock didn't arrive until after my MVP expired, and I didn't have anyone that like a Pele who could hand me anything. I couldn't even do 5-day trials. Okay, so it's definitely possible to do this without it, and there are ways of doing it like what we just suggested. I've got the stock on its way. I'm really, really keen to give this a go. I've heard so many great things about it, and list those people if you like. You can list Keegan, you can list Tim Ferriss, you can list Dom Agostina, you can list the famous Pele. But you're selling the success story again. You're using the leverage of success that's already happened, and just create an excitement around it. And if you create some excitement around it, then people will get excited too. Okay, cool. What's this keto? What's this ketones thing? So do whatever you can when that stock isn't around to get those orders through and to have those keto conversations that Pele was having, because the more of those that you do before you press that green go fast button, which I didn't have. I got mine pressed for me on day one. So my GoPro challenge started on day one of me finding out that I was going to do this with no stock. And until you're in that deep end, swimming away, treading water, you don't know what you can do. Okay, I guarantee you that you've done enough. You've got enough stock there to be able to get you through your bonuses and businesses and all that sort of stuff. And you'll go good. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
And plus, you've got a good upline there. He's all right.
We're gonna, Lisa, we're gonna kill it. Come that expo, watch out. We're gonna.
Can't wait, man.
We'll definitely get some good customers and leads there. So yeah, you're onto something good there. Hey team, yeah, I can't stress enough how important leverage is. I came into the business with the same struggles as Andy with regard to stock. I didn't have stock until Andy was fortunate enough to give me a 5-pack of orange, which I held on to 10 pack of for free. Even he gave it to me for free, and I was just like I was so thankful for the kind gesture. That like that's all I had for like 25, 26, 27 days. My first experience in the business was a bit of a struggle. So what you guys you're currently sort of working through at the moment, you've now got promoters that are bringing you on board that have a little bit of stock that may be able to sort of front you with something at least, okay, which is easier than what we came in on. But we want to be able to share those experiences, and part of my way through that first part was creating leverage off the back of the likes of Costo. I use Costo's story every day of the week. Like every person I spoke to, I was like, this guy's only been in the business for 4 months. I think it had been 4 or 5 months at the time. And I was just like, like he sold his CrossFit box within 2 months of being in the business. And, he was an overnight success. He does have a good network of friends and people in the industry and being from a rugby league background, but he's a smart dude, and the way he approached the business was something that I wanted to replicate. But the amount of money he earned in that short space of time was something that I was like, hey, this guy's he earned like 22 grand a month, 25 grand a month in the space of 4 months. Who does that in that short space of time? For an investment, you start off at $1,600, and it turns into that within a matter of 4 months. That's crazy. So when people are looking at those numbers and how you can get there so quickly, it's achievable. If you roll your sleeves up and you get stuck into it, it's definitely achievable. But you got to be prepared to go out on a limb as well. You're not going to create the success if you just sit in your shell and just try and expect this to happen. Okay, we actually have to go out there, consistency, approach, execute on a daily basis. Okay, and it may not be on social media. It may be having those conversations with randoms on the street, but looking for those openings and creating as many friends as possible. Like I'm listening to Eric Worre at the moment and his GoPro. And that's a really good thing, because he's like, man, what you want to do in this business is go out, make as many friends as possible, and just be friendly with people, because as soon as you pay attention to someone, you create a friendship, there's a relationship there. Okay, as soon as you've got a relationship, it's like we can have a conversation. Okay, when you're having conversations, things are going to happen organically. They're going to be interested in what you're doing. You show a little bit of interest back, things happen, switch numbers, next minute they're a customer, or next minute they might be an investor into the business side of things. But we just got to show them a little bit of care. You walk around with that type of attitude where you're showing a little bit of care, man, it's going to come back tenfold. So it's just the approach on a daily basis. And who doesn't want to have like 1 million friends? I want to have like heaps of friends. The more friends, the better, I reckon, eh? So I think if you take that approach, you're never going to struggle for someone to sort of talk to about the business side of things, or jumping on board with the product. Okay. I think that's about it, team. I think we'll cut it off there. We've been doing a little bit of yarning tonight, but like next week we're going to talk about three-way calls and the power of a three-way call. Some really good things happening in the business at the moment with regard to the Ketonation promoter group. Like a lot of guys are using those three-way calls. So what I'm gonna suggest for yous and anyone that watches this recording is that they go out and start connecting, make as many friends as you can, having those keto conversations out there with randoms or with people that you already know, and then if you're telling them or creating leverage off the back of what we're doing or what someone else has done or something else in the business or a story, you're creating leverage, then they're going to show some interest. If they show interest as a customer, you know what to do after that. If they're showing leverage, they're showing interest as a promoter or the business side of things, and it's just as simple as saying, hey pals, I've got someone that wants to look at the business. Can you jump on a call? Andy, can you do a call for me tonight at 8 o'clock? Liam, Johnny, one of us will jump on at the drop of a hat. But yeah, you've got to be willing to put yourself in a position where you're having a conversation with someone that you can get onto a call. Okay, so it's really going out with a little bit of conviction there. Okay, being authentic and genuine about what you're talking about. As soon as you're having those honest conversations, some people can pick up on that energy, whether you're putting up a front to just sort of sell product for the sake of it, or you're genuinely, interested about you've got some invested interest in their well-being. Okay, so that's what people will pick up on, and that's what we've got to execute on daily. But that's about it, team. I think if you can go away this week and try and get some people on three-way calls, we're here to help and jump on and support you with those. And we're ninjas at them now. So give us some some people.
Give us some three-way calls.
Cut out, by all means. If you have any questions, does anyone have any questions before we go? Any help or with anything? No, all good.
Oh, yep.
Yep, Coxie.
Because I'm not started on the product yet, just due to trying to sort out the whole drug-free sport and all that with the footy. In terms of like the best approach to a customer or something, because obviously it's pretty hard. They always ask, oh yeah, what's it like and all that, and I can't give them that energy that comes across and that personal experience. So I try and share stories and stuff like that, but sometimes it almost comes across like as that they might think it's a little bit bullshit kind of stuff, like because I'm not.
All you have to say is the product speaks for itself. You don't have to answer that question. All you have to answer the question with is the product speaks for itself. You just got to try it, because really you haven't answered their question, but you're just saying, you're bypassing it and saying, just try it, man. It speaks for itself. And as soon as, if you've got 5-day packs, say, hey, what's $55 for
fun now.
That's quality that'll speak for itself. If they, once you get it into their hands, bro, it truly does. It'll speak for itself.
Nah, sweet.
Yeah, so just say that. Use that as an answer, bro. And if you need anyone else to speak on behalf of it, bro, I'm here to even talk about to a customer if you need to.
Yeah, nah, sweet. Cheers, bro.
Sweet as, brother. All good. All right, team. That's us, eh?
Cheers, lads.
Sweet as.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for jumping on.
I'll put the recording up later